Hey folks, welcome to the Joe Morley Sports Show. I'm Joe Morley, and last night was the first round of the NFL draft, so that means 32 picks are in the books. So on this show today, I will talk about that first round. I will give my opinion on who shocked the first round, who went too high. I don't even know if I'll go into who went too high because there's not really a ranking that you can go too high. So it just depends on the general manager and who team. So I'll just say which team I think picked the best player to fit their team, which team went and got their needs, which team didn't get their needs, because I don't grade them. I don't go, that was an A+ grade. No, because we don't know that. Nobody will know what really happens with these prospects for 2, 3, 4 years down the road, because you never know. You don't know who these guys are going to become. We don't sit there and watch tape. We're not experts like these general managers. I'm not going to say that I'm better than a general manager. You better not sit there and go, I'm a better general manager than so and so. No, you're not. So, and like I said, you don't see people on draft day. The only people you see mad on draft day are the fans. The fans are like, I didn't see this guy on the mock draft. Well, guess what? Maybe you didn't see him on a mock draft because these general managers don't allow that information out, especially this year. This year was very hard, and there might have been more reaches. If you call them, you can call them a reach if you want. I don't call any first rounder a reach because there's a reason the team took him. So this year, a lot of the scouts and general managers didn't get together like they normally do. A lot of them usually get together at pro days. They get together at the combine. They get together and they can get the sense of a player and go, okay, what do you think about this player? Yeah, it's kind of like mixing together, and it's kind of like talking to their other teams. But what they do is they make a consensus pick and say, okay, this guy right here is a first rounder. This guy right here is a second rounder, and it's just a talk between them, but they can gauge around it, and they can gauge like, oh, this team really likes this guy really likes this guy, so they know exactly where to go. But this year they didn't have all those conversations. They didn't have all the pro days. So if you liked the guy, you had to take him, and you had to assume that somebody else liked him too, and so you might have took him a little bit earlier than you wanted to, but that's the case with not having all these pro days. So they didn't have the opportunity to go out and talk to all these people and judge where these guys were actually going to go. So this year you might have seen like I told you in a couple episodes ago, I told you that experts were saying that the mock drafts this year were not good. It was way off. Some of them, you look at them and go, oh, some of them are good, some of them are not. That's just a mock draft. A mock draft is somebody's opinion. I gave you my mock draft as my opinion. It doesn't matter. I'm not an NFL GM, so I don't know what's best for my team. So let's go through the first round. Let's do all this. Let's talk about what we think, and we'll get through this. So a little before the draft, I went on Facebook and I went on Instagram Live, and the video might still be up there, I'm not sure. And what I told you, this is the things that I told you yesterday on Facebook Live. About an hour or so before the draft, I said 6 to 7 wide receivers will go first round. I said if you don't believe it, they will go first round. 6 wide receivers went first round yesterday. I said the 49ers would be trading number 13 and 31. That they were looking to trade him, and they would be willing to offer it. Guess what? They traded both of them. I told you that more than 6 offensive linemen would go first round. A lot of people didn't believe it because there was only 4 ranked high tackles in that draft. 7 offensive linemen went first round. And I told you cornerbacks would shock the first round. I told you CB's cornerbacks would shock the first round, and guess what? Cornerbacks shocked the first round. There was a lot of first rounders that were cornerbacks, a lot of them that they're considered reaches. The Falcons are considered a reach with A.J. Terrell. The Raiders are considered a reach. There's a lot of so-called reaches out there, but cornerbacks were in need. I told you a lot of teams needed cornerbacks this year. So if you need a cornerback, is it a reach? Are you reaching for a need? Maybe, because a lot of people will say you gotta draft the best available, but when you draft the best available player, then your fans are not happy because they're like, oh, we needed this. But then you draft a guy for that need, then they're like, why'd you draft for the need? So fans are never going to be happy. You got to see the GM's point of view, and you got to see what they were looking at. And that's what I like about it, because if you drafted for your need, why is that a bad grade? Why would I give somebody and go, oh, that's an F because you drafted for your need? You drafted you tried to help your team? Oh, you get it. You fail this draft because you try to help your team. Oh, man, how about that? You could have took this guy, but you try to help your team. So we're going to fail you on the draft. Come on, really? If it's a reach, it's not a reach. If it's a first rounder, these guys are pro athletes, and they're It's the best of the best, and you're taking them first round. It doesn't matter if they go first round or second round. Not really, right? Because no matter what, they're going to be a good player. If they're a good player, you're going to, no matter what round you go in, you're going to be a good player. So it doesn't matter what round you take them. Maybe you didn't get the value for them, and that's what they're talking about. But if a second rounder turns into a first round talent, doesn't matter that you took him second round. In like a couple of years, you're going to be like, oh man, we should have took him first round. That's stupid. But you still have him on your team, right? So it doesn't matter. So my first surprise pick, like when I was watching the draft and I was watching it, I saw the first couple picks go, and the first pick that I was like, whoa, why would that team do that? Was at number 8 overall. Number 8 was the Arizona Cardinals, and they took a linebacker, Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons is a great player. Don't get me wrong. Do good Cardinals need defense? Yes, they do. They do need a linebacker. But the whole time, I thought that they wanted to protect Kyle Murray. They got DeAndre Hopkins. Their offense wanted to go somewhere. And, with the division that they're in, the 49ers have a great defensive line. The Rams, have a great defensive line. Seattle's always had a great defense, so you would think that they would want to protect their quarterback. But I'm guessing they're thinking that Isaiah Simmons was such a great player that they couldn't let him pass, and it was like they have to take him because if you remember, the talk coming into the draft is that Isaiah Simmons was one of the top 3 players in the whole draft. So to let him drop all the way to number 8, and like we talked about it, that he would slide, he was more talk was that he wasn't going to be a top 5 pick because of where his position was. Maybe Arizona already knows where they want to play him, but Arizona has been known for good safety play and using the safety as a linebacker and moving him up and down. So maybe they already know where he's at. So that was my first shock of the draft where I was like, whoa, why did Arizona do that? I mean, we understand why they did it, but they still need to find a way to protect Kyle Murray, especially in the NFC West. A lot of people will say, oh, that was your first surprise? How come? What about the Giants in number 4 when they took Andrew Thomas? To me, that's not a surprise to me. You knew there was 4 good offensive tackles in the draft. It just depends on how you ranked them. So that surprising to me is not if, oh, you took one of the top tackles, but you took the wrong top tackle. No, you took one of the top 4. If your team values this guy better than they value another guy, maybe you saw something on this guy that you didn't like on this one. They saw Andrew Thomas. They liked Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas was ranked as a top 4 tackle in the draft. So what's wrong with him? If you value him more than the other guys, Mekhi Beckham and Jarek Wills, if you value Andrew Thomas more, then you take Andrew Thomas. So there's nothing wrong with taking a top guy at that position just because somebody else says, oh, this guy was ranked better. But if you have 4 good offensive tackles, if all 4 of them are ranked top, can go top 10, and it's just your opinion. So are they wrong that they took a top 10 tackle before another top 10 tackle? No, it's that they wanted this guy, and that's who they feel strongly about. And then, as we're going down the draft, people are going to be like, well, the Raiders took Henry Ruggs. Like I said, the same thing about the offensive tackles. There's top 3 wide receivers in the draft. You just didn't know the order that they were going. Do a lot of people love Judy more, love Lamb more, or do they love Ruggs? Yes, they're all 3 on the same level. According to all these experts, they're all 3 on the same level. So it depends on what you want. Did you want the speedy guy? Did you want the route runner? Did you want the bigger guy? Well, the Raiders, like I told you yesterday on Facebook Live right before the draft, that John Gruden was really in love with Henry Ruggs, and you got to think the Raiders always watch Tyreek Hill, and they're like, hey, let's go to the speedy guy. So that one didn't really surprise me because, like I said, there's top 3 wide receivers, and so he's one of the top 3. It just depends on the order that they wanted to take him. And so if the Raiders valued him more, they valued the speed more, and that's what they went. They're going to be in that track meet with Kansas City 2 times a year, so they might as well get a guy who's going to keep them in that track meet. Favorite picks of the draft was the 49ers taking Kinlaw. They did a very good job at trading down 1 spot and picking up a 4th round pick, even though they eventually traded up later on in the draft. But they took, like I told you, he was one of my favorite prospects coming in this draft. So I think that was one of the highlights of the draft is the 49ers taking Kinlaw and, trading down 1 spot to do it. So that's a very good pickup for the 49ers. I thought that was a very good pickup. The next one that I thought that shook me, and it probably shocked the world, a lot of people are talking a mess about it, and that's the Raiders' next pick, and that was Arnett at number 19. A lot of people are talking about, who's Arnett? Who's Arnett? Well, like I said, just because you don't see him on a mock draft doesn't mean he's not a good player. So that's what a lot of fans are locked in on and going, well, I didn't see him on any mock drafts. Well, that's because they didn't put the information out there. And I'm a big believer, and a lot of people hit me up on Facebook because they know I'm a Raider fan. They're like, hey, what do you think about now? Well, I trust Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock was a living, and then he did it on NFL Network for many years. He studies these guys. So then I went and said, let me go look up Damon Arnett, and let me see what he's all about. And even, like I said, even Mel Kiper said last night on the podcast, on the telecast of the NFL draft, he said after C.J. Henderson and after Jeffrey Okudah, the third cornerback was up for grab. So it doesn't matter which one you take because, like I said, once you rank the prospects the same way, it just depends on your personal value. So with Arnett, did you know that he's only in the 4 seasons that he's played, he's played 4 seasons there at Ohio State. He's not given up more than 1 touchdown per season. He was the number 1 in passer rating against, and when he played man coverage. So he's a very good man coverage. His NFL comparison is Darius Slay. So is it really that big of a draft pick or a big surprise that he was there? No, he played for one of the top programs in the state, and he was probably tested more. Or in the country, he was probably tested more than any other cornerback in college this year because playing opposite of him was Jeffrey Okudah, who was the number 3 pick. So of course people aren't going to throw it at Okudah; they're going to throw it at Arnett. Maybe he was more tested, and that's what they liked about him. But he's a very aggressive player, so you can't really fault him. And like I said, I trust Mike Mayock, and I think he knows what he's doing. So I go that way. And there's a lot of people coming out now saying, Arnett is a top talent. He was a top 5 cornerback, just depending on your grade. A lot of like Bucky Brooks, NFL Network, he's defending the pick, saying it's a great pick. So I would encourage you to go watch some tape, but we won't know for sure until, like I said, a couple years from now, and when the prospects are actually broken down and see how good they actually do in the NFL. So and like I said, I trust my Mayock on this pick, and I think he did a great job. Where was Jerry Jones drafting from? Was he drafted from like a yacht or like 1,000 feet underwater in some submarine? Did you see that, guys? Like, he was just sitting on a couch in a big old room that looked like there was nobody around, and then the Cowboys are on the clock, and a lot of people are like, why would the Cowboys take CeeDee Lamb? Why not? I mean, do the Cowboys have that luxury at this point to take a wide receiver? Not really. They don't really have that luxury. They're not really that good to be able to take luxury picks. But when there's a CeeDee Lamb on the board, you take him. CeeDee Lamb, it's funny, it's compared to Amari Cooper. Like I said, do the Cowboys have that luxury? No, they shouldn't have done it, but they did, and it's going to make their offense better. So you know what that means? Screw the defense, right? We're gonna score some points. And Jerry Jones is saying, let's go put up some points with Mike McCarthy, and let's do this. We're gonna give you the 3 good wide receivers, and Dak better show what he's about, and Ezekiel better shut up, and we're gonna score 40 points a game. And our defense, they're gonna be there. And if they stop one guy, they might stop a team one day, and it's gonna be good for us. But other than that, we're gonna continue to put up points, and we can help our defense later on. I mean, people are saying they should have took Xavier McKinney. Well, guess what? Isn't he still on the board? He's still on the board. Right here in the second round, so they can still move around. There's still Delpit on the board. There's safeties on the board, so it's not like they missed out on anybody yet. They could still go and get him in the second round, and now they got one of the top 3 wide receivers out of this draft, so the Cowboy fans need to be happy about that. Another surprise that I saw was when the Seattle Seahawks took Jordan Brooks. It was only a surprise just because Patrick Queen was still on the board, so that's the only thing. But when you look up Brooks, and a lot of people are saying, I didn't see Brooks on the board either. You didn't see him on mock drafts either because, like I said, those guys didn't get this talk. So Jordan Brooks was to Seattle was a kind of a surprise to me because I never really studied him a lot. But then you go and read the comparisons, and guess who's he compared to? The great linebacker in Seattle already, Bobby Wagner. So he's compared to Bobby Wagner, who's already in Seattle. So I can see why Seattle took that pick. I mean, I like Patrick Queen. And he ended up going to a great spot, right? The rich get richer right here, right? With the Ravens picking up Patrick Queen. The only other surprise that really got to me, and it's not because of the player, it's not because of the guy's talent. I really like Jordan Love. But the Packers taking Jordan Love, I was like shocked, and I think the whole world was shocked. A lot of people are calling it a bad pick. I don't know how bad of a pick it is. A lot of people are now coming out and saying Aaron Rodgers is in a decline. Aaron Rodgers is this. I don't know. Yes, has Aaron Rodgers had some slow starts to the season the last couple of seasons? Yes, but is he still completing a good percentage of his passes? Yes. What is it, like 62% of his passes? He still threw for 4,000 yards last year. He played in every game that they needed him. So I don't know what you want. He threw 26 touchdowns. Is he far away from the Super Bowl that he was in? Yeah. Did he have a couple injuries? Yeah. But do you have the luxury to take a backup quarterback? Yes, Aaron Rodgers is 36. You might get another 2 years out of him before, he has 4 years left on his contract. 2 years is what I looked at when they can probably get out of it. They can probably get out of it earlier if they want to pay a little bit of money. But in 2 years, none of that's guaranteed. So you're looking at Jordan Love. And, Jordan Love is an exceptional athlete, and he's going to be a very good player in this league. But did the Packers really have that luxury to take him when Aaron Rodgers is sitting there saying, give me some help, give me some help? And this is the first offensive weapon that they took in the first round since Aaron Rodgers was drafted, and you're not even helping your own guy. So I know Aaron Rodgers is a little mad, and you know that he looks like the kind of guy that keeps a lot of grudges. So I don't want to run too late on this one. So like I said, those are my Jordan Brooks, Jordan Love, Damon Arnett, and Isaiah Simmons were kind of like my shockers of the first round. My favorite picks of the first round were C.J. Henderson, Justin Jefferson to the Minnesota Vikings. I think that was a great pickup for them. And, of course, Javon Kinlaw was one of my favorite picks. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of upcoming drafts, the next couple of days, and see if our teams get better. I will rank the teams for you in the next episode of what I think, how they do, and we'll see you guys on the next flip side. So Joe Morley Sports is out.